Welcome, guys. It's another episode of the Neutral Corner presented by Dani Glover, and I'm joined today again by my friend Eddie, Team AJ. You know where it is. How's it going, man?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I came back from Saudi Arabia like 3 days ago. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what was it? Jeddah.
Jeddah, yeah.
Yeah. So how was that experience? Just the country in general at first, obviously.
But you know what? Funny enough, like the Middle East has always had like a stigma to it, but when you actually go there, people are very kind, very polite, very nice actually. To be honest with you, nice country, very developed, extremely hot. Now, I don't know how they do it down there, but when we were down there, it was like over the 40 degrees, 45 degrees.
So how would you compare that heat over there compared to the heat wave we've just had over here? Because we had our hottest temperatures in history.
We had no heat wave. We had no heat wave, trust me.
Well, I'm glad you've cleared that up because my friend Tony Pugilis, he was talking about, it's nothing, it's probably the same as over here or whatever, but I've had a few people who said that and you've just reiterated.
Yeah, it's really hot, man. I mean, I've been around the world, I've traveled countries, but I think because that's desert heat, it's different heat. And I've never experienced where I'm in my hotel and if you open the window, it warms up the room. I've never experienced that. I'm like, normally when you open a window, it does the opposite. It actually warms up the room like you got a heater. It was crazy, man. The heat was really, really like I never experienced it. But it was funny, even at nighttime, it's probably in the 30s.
Oh, so you're tossing and turning.
Yeah. But the hotel room is okay because it's got like the aircon is like you're literally in the freezer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go outside, it's different. I think that's what makes it worse. When you're in a cold room and then you go outside in the 48 or 47 or whatever degrees it is, you feel it. But after 2 or 3 days, I got used to the heat a little bit.
You're acclimatized. So how would you, because that was what I wanted to find out. How would you compare Jeddah compared to Riyadh? Yeah.
Because when we went to Riyadh the last time, it was December. So it was in the 30s, 28, you know what I mean? Of course, during December, so it wasn't as hot. It was still nice hot.
But what about like the general area and like compared cities wise, like London to Manchester or something like that?
Obviously, Jeddah is like sort of like as if you're going towards Leeds or something compared, because I think Riyadh is like more developed, definitely in terms of buildings and things. I think Jeddah's nice, but Riyadh is definitely much more better. It's like Riyadh is like more close to Dubai in terms of development and things, I think. And to be honest, I haven't visited all of Saudi Arabia, but I can only talk from what I've seen. Riyadh is very nice, developed, probably
so it's
more developed than here, to be honest with you.
Okay, so it's more of a big city type place.
Yeah. Even the airport, very nice. The airport, very nice, decorated. They've done well. Saudi Arabia is a very beautiful country, and I was quite surprised by going there twice to see how it's developed compared to where it was 30 years ago, because 30 years ago it wasn't like that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So they've done well, so.
So what was the arena aircon like? Was that okay in there?
It was very good. I mean, the inside arena literally was, the aircon was nice. There was, they make sure that the temperature was fightable, for the fighters to be able to fight, and obviously knowing there's going to be a lot of people. So in fact, when I was in arena, I felt a bit cold, funny enough. You know what I mean? So the aircon was really working.
Oh, okay, that was because that was a bit of an issue, a worrying issue for people, for all the fighters, basically. Really.
Yeah. Because when I saw the weather, I'm like, I hope they're not doing it outside, because there's no way, no way they'll be able to fight outside. No way.
Yeah. So on to the fight itself now. Usyk won on points again. Most people say Anthony Joshua did a lot better than he did last time. I agree. And he fought one of the best fights he's fought. So what's your assessment on the fight on reflection?
My assessment on the fight is basically both athletes done extremely well. From what I can see, from what actually looking at the fight, being there and watching the fight, we all observed and noticed that there was a bit of changement to AJ's approach to the fight. We can all agree that he asserted his dominance and aggression,
physicality.
Aggression towards Usyk. You can see the determination that he had going on the fight, and he done the best he could. But unfortunately, Usyk was the better man, and not taking any credit away from Usyk, he masterful boxer, amazing like footwork. Like you just gotta like sometimes appreciate a boxer, whether you're for him or not for him, and the footwork and his will was just unbelievable. And they both, displayed a good performance, to be honest with you. But I think Usyk just done a little bit more to win the fight.
Yeah, and a good lateral movement. And the thing with AJ, because he performed a lot better, it made Usyk have to step up his game, especially after that 9th round. He had to show off some stuff which we haven't seen before, with the movement, the angles in 10, 11, 12. And to be fair, just as you said, at the end of the day, it's two guys going in there. Someone's got to win. Sometimes someone's just better, Showbiz, he's got a YouTube channel. We'll put the clip up now. He, after I finished the sentence, he was saying he was going through the list of fighters in history who've lost twice to an opponent. You can go with the likes of Joe Frazier losing to George Foreman twice. You can talk about Oscar De La Hoya losing to Shane Mosley twice. You could talk about Shane Mosley losing to Vernon Forrest twice. You can talk about
Eubank and Collins.
Eubank and Collins, yeah,
twice, right?
Yeah, and Nigel Benn and Collins.
He lost twice, right? Isn't
Yeah. Eubank lost to Collins twice, and Ben lost to Collins twice.
Yeah.
What's his name? Thomas Hearns lost to Iron Barkley twice. Roberto Duran. No. But yeah, there's so many people in history.
Loads,
do you know what I mean? And Showbiz, we'll put the clip up now. Showbiz goes through the list of them, which is a very good thing. So yeah.
Just like
look, Joe Frazier. He never beat George Foreman, losing to him twice. Tommy the Hitman Hearns, he never beat Iran Barkley, okay? Losing to him twice, okay? Vernon Forrest, he never beat Mayorga, losing to him twice. Hell, Sugar Shane Mosley never beat Vernon Forrest, losing to him twice. Julian the Hawk Jackson never beat the G-Man, losing to him twice. Hell, he lost another time against Mike McCullum. That loss wasn't avenged. Anthony Joshua, I know you're disappointed, but you're not a disappointment. You're a fighter. Welcome to the club.
Like you said, and I'm glad that, just like you said, and we discussed it last week, just before the fight, and we said that obviously it happens. You have people that fight people, and they have a number, just like you said. You mentioned there are a lot of boxers, and I even said to you last time, Muhammad Ali and Kenny Norton. Even though Ali won twice, if you really look at the fight, in my opinion, Kenny Norton won the fight. And Ali even admitted it. He even said to George Foreman, like, please come back from retirement because I just can't figure out this guy. I can't beat him.
Yeah.
So you have people that it's like I said, style make fights. And Usyk style, and is not to say it's easy for Usyk, but it gels with him. So he's able to win the fight with AJ's style. But it happens. That's boxing history. Like I said, me personally, I was happy with AJ's performance. I think he put his eye out. We can all see that he tried to obviously take him out, and he was definitely more aggressive. It was more competitive than the last fight. We can all agree to that. I mean, this fight was more. We can see that he did try to change certain things that he didn't do last time. So it's boxing at the end of the day. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, and just like we was talking about last time, The great Mike Tyson himself, he lost to Evander Holyfield twice. And if they fought 5 times, Holyfield's beaten him 5 times. As you said, you just said, a man's got your number, the man's got your number.
That's what it is, yeah.
And that's it. It's just like, I imagine if Canelo rematches Dimitri Bivol, he's going to get beat again. It's just like if Carl Froch rematched Andre Ward, he'll just get beat again. And that takes nothing away from them as great champions.
It's just the styles.
It's just the styles. Or someone's just more talented than you. Yeah. And in life, that is just it. So the public, making these memes, making these jokes, because, the average Joe, they're very fickle. And I saw something with Tyan Booth from TFL. He said something which was real, which I respect. He said, there's a lot of envy, he goes, even from himself. He goes, because they look at AJ's, he puts up a post on Instagram, they look on the comment section, they see women saying, I want your baby, I want you to do things to me sexually, and I want to do things to you. And it gets these men in their feelings, because they're thinking, why can't I be like that? Like, why can't I be that guy? So that automatically brings that I want to see him. I want to see him fall. I want to see him get bruck up. So I can say, look, yeah, that's your MCM right there, getting beat up. Look, your man crush Monday. So man, nothing better as a haters. It's bad, jealous, bad mind, grudgeful. It's not good, because this guy, as I've said before, this guy is the reason, and I was saying this before Eddie Hearn started saying this in the post-fight presser thing. I was saying, Anthony Joshua for 10 years has carried this sport, not just in Britain, but globally, yeah? Because 2012, Canelo weren't popping. In 2012. Canelo, I think he probably what year did he fight Floyd Mayweather? Probably around that time. So he weren't even popping like that. So Anthony Joshua was carrying this sport from, yes, Audley Harrison. He's another one as well, who's a pioneer who gets enough hate, but he's the one who brought the funding to the sport in 2000 when he won the Olympic gold, helped guys like James DeGale, Amir Khan, Anthony Joshua, Luke Campbell, be able to get their medals. And then Anthony Joshua from 2012 to now has been carrying this sport. He's helped all these boxers get mad wages, because we know under the Frank Warren and Frank Kelly Maloney era, boxers for British title fights or world title fights, they weren't, and even undercard fighters, they weren't getting the type of wages that they're getting now. And this is all down to AJ raising the profile of the sport. And there's so much pressure on him. It's mad. It's so, I can understand, yes, we'll get onto the post-fight antics in the ring, but I can see why that would lead to a man imploding and kind of losing the plot a bit. We've all at work at some point or indoors had a mad one, slamming doors, probably broke the car window, shouting at people, doing tearing up offices and all that. But that's in the comforts of your own home or in front of about 20 people. Unfortunately, the thing is, AJ tried to go back into the changing room to have a little mad one, where it would have been off camera. He could probably smashed up the locker room or whatever, what he needs to do, let out the steam. But, his team, someone in his team told him to come back in the ring, and then he had the episode in the ring. But he didn't hurt nobody. It's just a little rant. So, what did you gauge from that?
I was going to get back to the point which you made a good point about the boxing, because if we look at the history of boxing, if you look at people that really bought heavyweight, we can say, because boxing is heavyweight. I'm not saying that, but when we talk about boxing, it's heavyweight.
That's the glamour division.
The one that that we've known from the time we're growing up. If you look at the history of boxing, there's been a lot of people that bring light to heavyweight boxing, from the Jack Johnson to the Joe Louis and etc. You probably know more than me.
Muhammad Ali.
But let's just say Muhammad Ali brought a lot of light to heavyweight boxing. After Muhammad Ali, it went a bit dry for a while.
Yeah, the Larry Holmes era.
The Larry Holmes is one of my favourite boxers. I loved his jab and things like that. But it went dry for a little bit after Muhammad Ali. Then the phenomenon Mike Tyson came. Mm-hmm. And when Mike Tyson came, he changed the whole game. Yeah? Mm-hmm. He brought excitement to boxing. Boxing was live again. You know, every Mike Tyson fight, the whole world was watching. You know, Mike Tyson was the man. And even like I said to you last time when Mike Tyson even lost, it was still around Mike Tyson. Boxing revolved around Mike Tyson because everyone wanted to fight Mike Tyson. And even like I said to you last time, Evander Holyfield became champion after beating Buster Douglas, who Buster Douglas beat Tyson. Even though Holyfield was champion, was still not recognized as a real heavyweight champion. People didn't, they wasn't convinced that this guy, he beat a finished Buster Douglas, so they weren't convinced. He fought Riddick Bowe, and he gave Riddick Bowe a good fight. They had trilogy, they had 3 good fights. But it was still Mike Tyson. It's still who can beat Mike Tyson. So Holyfield was very jealous of Mike Tyson. Like I said the last time, he just said that, I'm champion, but it's still around, it still revolves around him. So we can see then after that, the Tyson era, obviously there was great fighters. We can Evander Holyfield, the Lennox Lewis, the Riddick Bowe, the Shannon Briggs, and we can go. There's so much heavyweights in the 90s. You know, so much good heavyweights when you think about Oliver McCall and
Tommy Morrison,
Tony Tucker. There was
Tim Witherspoon,
yeah, like there was
Bone Crusher Smith.
There was good fighters. There was a lot of, and these were good. Burt Cooper, Ray Mercer.
Yeah,
oh my god,
Ray Mercer's a serious.
Like there was some serious boxers them days. Like, you know,
even the roadman Mitch Green.
You know, Mitch Green, he had fast hands. You know, he should have kept it on. Like he actually was a good boxer. I just think he was too street.
Yeah, he weren't dedicated.
He was just too rolled for the sport. But yeah, so you had good boxers in that era, and then after Mike Tyson obviously came off the scene, the Klitschko's came.
Yeah.
Then they went dead. And when the Klitschko's came, it literally, I'm not taking any credit from Klitschko's. I mean, they've done well. They're both brothers, excellent boxers. They won the fight, and that's what it's about, winning the fights. But it went a bit dry for at least good 10 years.
Not a bit.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Nobody, the average guy didn't know
about boxing. No one was following heavyweight. So it was more like middleweights now and welterweights, and you know, because obviously the heavyweight was kind of dead.
Featherweight with Prince Nassim.
Yeah.
Like Prince Nassim, he was probably more famous than the Klitschko's.
Yeah, Prince Nassim. Yeah, there's Prince Nassim. Then obviously people was concentrating more on middleweights and etc. and the lower weights, because obviously the heavyweight scene wasn't exciting enough. You know, the Vladimir Klitschko and Vitaly Klitschko was dominating, and they had a style that was quite boring. You know, there was nothing more to it. They were winning, but it wasn't exciting. You know, and they didn't have.
No flair.
No flair, no character, no personality. That, you know, they're just...
Not marketable.
Yeah, not marketable. They were just very boxing, that's it. And there was nothing to it. David Haye did come and try and spice up a bit, but he wasn't able to take it to the level that it should have been taken as a heavyweight. So after that, Oluwafemi came in the scene, aka Anthony Joshua. And basically, as soon as he came into the scene, boxing had light again. Heavyweight boxing had light again. Even before he was champion. When it started from him and Dylan White,
yeah,
then that fight kind of like woke up people. Like, oh right, who's this? You know what I mean? So he brought light into the sport, and we have to give him credit. If a lot of boxers today are getting paid and boxing the way it is, especially matchroom boxing has grown the way it's grown, it's Anthony Joshua. We have to, Tyson Fury, yes, he came, but he beat Klitschko, but he didn't have that charisma, that character to be able to bring light into the heavyweight boxing. He wasn't able to do that.
No.
But Joshua was able to do that, and he done that. And all of a sudden, people that wasn't even into boxing became into boxing, started watching boxing, and even thinking, oh right, I want to do boxing, and got very people got basically inspired by AJ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All over. So we have to give credit for what he's done for boxing. He's done a wonderful job for boxing. And, so he hasn't lost anything. He's gained. He's done it because there's only be 3 men really that's brought light to heavyweight boxing. 3 men, that's Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, and Anthony Joshua. That's my opinion. Some people might disagree.
Yeah, revolutionized boxing.
But if we have to say, in terms of to sell boxing and the market side of things, in terms of like I said, putting light to boxing, they're the three men I've done it. My opinion. People might disagree with me, but we can obviously see that that's the case. I'm not saying we can, obviously, in the past has been the Joe Lewis, the Jack Johnson, but I can't really talk from them times.
Rocky Marciano, yes, there was, but I'm talking about in the past, how many decades would you say? 6 decades.
6 decades. There's only 3 men that's done it personally. I think Muhammad Ali definitely took boxing to another level when he fought George Foreman and Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, which is now Democratic of Congo. I think from that fight, boxing just went, you know what I mean? And after that, like I said, Mike Tyson, with his excitement, put light into it. Then after that, after he went, it was Anthony Joshua, 100%.
Yeah.
And he's definitely done that for the last 5 years of him like fighting. He's definitely the revenue of Matchroom, and that's definitely gone up because of him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like for him to even be able to fight and get offered in money in Saudi Arabia shows you how far he's brought boxing to, so yeah.
Yeah, twice over. And as you was talking about Anthony Joshua, the profile with the Dillian White thing, I remember when I went to the Gary Cornish fight for the Commonwealth title in the O2 Arena, and the O2, only last night with that KSI thing when he's bringing all these YouTubers, I haven't seen the O2 packed like how it was last night for that KSI thing since Anthony Joshua used to fight there. So all the Dillian shows, all the Chisora shows, all these shows at the O2 boxing wise, they've never, I'm talking nosebleed seats where people's backs are against the wall.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua is the only fighter I've seen do that as a proper boxer, in the O2. Like he transcended the sport. He's gone into stadiums multi times over. Someone was talking about, Carl Froch and George Groves did it, but that was a one-off. They couldn't do, if Carl Froch had another fight, he weren't going to fight there again. He wouldn't do it again. George Groves wouldn't do it again. Anthony Joshua did Wembley multi times. Principality, Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, multi times where we even worked there. You even walked him out there. Yeah. You walked him out at Wembley. So, bringing boxing to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, twice over. Now, the likes of Dimitri Bivol is fighting Zerdo Ramirez in Abu Dhabi, but that's off of the back of Anthony Joshua. So now Golden Boy are getting offers from Sats, but without that, AJ set the pace.
AJ done a lot for boxing.
Even with the UFC doing all that Abu Dhabi shows, that's all off the back of Anthony Joshua bringing combat sports.
Of course. I mean, let's be honest, even Tyson Fury, if Tyson Fury was able to do the numbers he done with Dillian White, it's all because of AJ. If there was no AJ, he wouldn't have done them numbers.
He wouldn't have done Wembley.
I know Frank Warren and all of the Tyson Fury fans are going to disagree with me, and I'm going to get a lash from that, but it's the truth. We have to speak the truth. It's not because I'm Team AJ that I'm just going to glory. I'm just speaking facts. And we have all observed how boxing was 10 years ago compared to when he's come in the scene, and we've seen what he's done to boxing. So he's done a wonderful job, and I think he still can do more. The journey hasn't yet ended.
Yeah. So also I want to touch on because he had an episode in the ring where he had an outburst, but I want to talk about mental health for boxers, sports people, celebrities, and what things people say, things people write, the pressures of life, the pressures of expectation, the pressure of feeling of failure, how it affects and what goes through the minds of people. Because I saw on TalkSport, what's that guy's name with the glasses? He was talking about, Anthony Joshua, he shouldn't, he's having all this outburst, but when he goes to the ATM in the morning, which is a microaggression term, and he checks his bank balance and he saw 35 million in the bank, and he's made 200 million out of box. I'm thinking, why do you keep talking about his money and pocket watching? Because you don't talk about that. You don't talk about Tyson Fury's. You don't price up his wages. You don't price up other sports people, these footballers and these F1 drivers' wage. Why are you pricing AJ's wages up and pocket watching the man so much?
I think there's obviously favoritism. Obviously, he's Team Fury.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's Team Fury for him talking like that. And he hasn't hid it that he's Team Fury. But you know what it is? People that talk like that obviously are not educated on mental health, and it's got nothing to do with money. Funny enough, obviously coming back from Saudi Arabia, obviously you can imagine the messages I've got and texts, and some were positive, some were negative. And I explained to one of my friends and one guy that I know. I explained to him that obviously you understand the pressures of being a boxer and the pressures of expectation, because you have to understand AJ. The whole of England is counting on him. Probably most, not just England, probably worldly. There's a high expectation of him. Yeah, he's aware of it. Yeah, it's just the man that just was able to he managed it for a long time and didn't show anything, but just tried to manage it. But what I'm trying to address today is mental health as well, because people really don't know what mental health and clearly don't understand. It's got nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with what's in your bank account, because I know one of my friends just said, "Oh, how's AJ going through mental health? You get me? Like, he's got money, he's got millions, he's got 40 million, this and that. Like, trust me, don't. He's just a sore loser. He's just upset that he lost. That's it. He ain't going through no mental health. We're going through mental health. We're going through the struggle. He's having fun. Like, he's like, we'll see him on Snapchat or whatever, or social media having fun and rare. So he ain't going through mental health. Don't tell me that." So I had to break it down to my friend. I said, "Listen, it's got nothing to do with money. Why is it then people that have money in the past that we know, celebrities, have killed themselves?
Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Whitney Houston, even a Tupac lyric in I Wonder If Heaven's Got a Ghetto, he's like, I wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Shall I blast myself? So he's even talking about suicidal thoughts.
Exactly. And these are people that have got money, they've got everything. The same guy that's talking about, AJ's got 40 million in his ATM. And what about his guy Tyson Fury?
Yeah, this is Simon Jordan, by the way, that TalkSport guy.
Tyson Fury beat Klitschko and he became heavyweight champion of the world. And what happened? He couldn't hack it, and then he started doing drugs and drinking and all of that. Yeah,
and had mental health. And had mental health. And everyone, will try to support him. AJ didn't do that, but it doesn't mean that he can't go through mental health neither. You know what I mean? Like, listen, at the end of the day, like, in life, we all go through mental health. I've gone through mental health. I had, suicidal thoughts, and people look at me and think, "Right, Eddie, like, nah, you look alright, man. You're always with them, man. You're always with these people. You're always going out, like, I see you with, Afro Nation. I see you with Smade. I see you with Age. I see you with all these people. So what mental health are you going through? You look like you're having fun." But obviously people, it's lack of knowledge, innit? It doesn't mean what you see on the outside doesn't mean you don't know what's going on the inside. You might see people partying, you might see people going out, but you don't know what they're going through inside. AJ's got a lot of pressure. As an athlete, he's an ambassador of the sport in this country. Mm-hmm. He's the main man. When we talk about sports, we talk about AJ. He's got, probably the Queen was watching that fight. Do you know what I mean? The royal family's probably watching that fight. Yeah. That's a lot of pressure. And they're not just watching it, they're watching him because they want him to win. Yeah. Because he's the one that's basically, we're all leaning on him because he's the one that's basically carrying the sport of boxing and sport in general. Yeah. And that's a lot of pressure, And there's obviously he's a role model to young kids. So listen, we all, just like you said, Danny, we all had a mental breakdown. Do you know what I mean? When he got on the mic and spoke what he spoke, you have to understand he just come from a 12-round fight, taking a lot of punches in the head, so he's not going to be in his right mind. Mm-hmm. So his emotions, because you have to understand he was really looking to win. He basically, it was win or nothing. He gave it his best, even in round 9, after he was punishing Usyk with heavy punches. It was no light punches. Heavyweight punches, 18 stone. Usyk went back in his corner and started praying. Yeah, I remember that.
He started praying because he said he's never been hit like this in his life. And Usyk took this fight serious. Usyk knew that I could get knocked out in this fight. Usyk took this fight serious. See, Usyk was like, you know what, I could get hurt. I have to be careful. I'm going to train extra hard. Joshua's thing is I'm trying to knock him out. I want to take him out. And what happened was that Joshua was so concentrated on trying to take him out that he wasn't concentrating on winning the rounds.
Yeah.
He was trying to, I'm just going to take this guy out. That's the determination he had. That's the mindset he had. So what happened when he got concentrated too much on that, Usyk was nicking a few rounds, and you can see that Usyk was hitting him. It wasn't necessarily hard punches, but just doing enough to win the rounds. Accumulation. Sometimes if I was in this corner, I would have said to AJ, I'd say, all right, boom, you know what, it's close. Just win the 3 rounds. Just make sure you just win the rounds. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd rather you win the rounds and take the title. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would have told him. But obviously, his mindset was to try to knock out Usyk. And that's what happened.
But also, in the corner, they was telling Anthony Joshua that he was winning the fight. Like, no one, it's even after round 3, they was like, yeah, you're ahead. But when really, that's not a time you really even care about scorecards. So I think there was still some of that cheerleading factor going on in the corner, unfortunately, especially late on in the fight when Usyk was ahead, not by miles. He was a little bit ahead, but they were saying, yeah, AJ, you're winning. So they're giving him a full sense of security where AJ wouldn't think, oh, let me get these rounds back. He's just thinking, oh, I'm ahead, so I'll do what I want to do, and let me get the highlight reel knockout then. That's what he's thinking. And I think maybe Robert Garcia wasn't the right guy to employ for this task of trying to defeat a boxer, because if you look at Robert Garcia's resume of fighters, they have a habit of getting outboxed. You look at his son. Errol Spence is a man who likes to break up, man, but he decided to outbox Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia also got outboxed and pinged up by Sandor Martin. So Robert Garcia is not a man who is able to train a person to outbox somebody. His fighters get outboxed a lot. They're good, aggressive. So yes, he got Anthony Joshua to be more aggressive. But when you're talking about the actual skill set and sweet science, Robert Garcia ain't that guy. Angel Fernandez, I'm not sure what his role, well, he seems he's a head trainer, but I'm not sure of his credentials. And questionable. And I'm not telling AJ what to do or whatnot, but I think it would be, there's a lot of great mentors and wisdom in the game of guys who he could look to potentially. It seems Robert Garcia's probably, been released of his duties, going by some of the tweets he's talking about. AJ beat himself and he's mentally defeated, and Usyk was stronger mentally and this and that. So it seems like he's having some kind of salty peanuts about this, what's happening behind the scenes or whatnot. But there's guys like, Antonio Tarver. People will say Lennox Lewis, but if they don't get on, they don't get on. There's guys out in Detroit who he could go to. What's that guy's name? What's the guy who used to get trained by Emmanuel Stewart? He's a trainer now as well.
What's his name?
He's quite young still, black guy.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. What's his name? I know you're talking about.
Yeah. But there's guys like him as well. Yeah. You notice where now Deontay Wilder's got my man on board. His boxing's looking much more improved. Tyson Fury's got Sugar Hill much more improved. So I think Anthony Joshua could use some of that. Not saying that Americans are the be all and end all, but there's a lot of good guys out there. What's it? Banks.
Banks, yeah.
Yeah, Banks.
That's it.
Yeah. I think someone like that kind of style would help.
You know what? It's funny because I was just saying last time, I think for me, a coach, I think what AJ was doing, he was balancing things. He was making sure that whoever comes on board gels with Angel Fernandez. They all gel together because he doesn't want any complications in the camp, because obviously you need to have everyone with the same mindset and all can work together. Otherwise, it'll be a shambles. And I think that's what AJ was making sure that whoever they have gels with Angel, whoever, Robin McCracken, whoever was there. Because obviously, you need to be able to come to an agreement. This is how we're going to work, and we can, which makes sense. But I also say, a coach is not about showing you skills, yeah? a coach isn't meant to be like a father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a coach is a psychiatrist. A coach is your friend. A coach is everything.
Mentor.
Everything, a mentor, everything. Because, like I said to you, boxing's 80% mental and 20% physical. Yeah? But when I'm saying that to the young ones, train. Doesn't mean you shouldn't train, you know what I mean? Train, you know, do your road works. Don't think, I don't need to train, it's all about mental. No. It's all happened to Swarmz, and you know what I mean. so sometimes you got to train. So
yeah, we're all for the dream it, believe it, become it, but you got to train for it. You can't just watch Andrew Tate and think that
you can't, you know, because you can believe in yourself and you can have the right mentality to fight, but you also got to do other things. You got to train. But what I'm trying to say is that a coach needs to be all those things. It's not just about skills. You have to gel. You have to have an intimacy with your fighter mentally. For me, is you need that. You know, we talked about Emmanuel Stewart last time, how he was able to gel with Lennox Lewis and mentally gel together with him. Do you know what I mean? And you have to be like that. You know, I think Garcia done his best to train AJ, become more aggressive, but maybe it's like I said, it's more than that. I mean, you can teach someone how to fight, but you also have to mentally get them prepared, and it's like
and tap into them to activate them.
Do you know what I mean? You have to be with them, not just be like, okay, all right, that's good, yeah, that's a good round, yeah, keep the jab. No, needs to be more to it.
Do you know?
There needs to be more passion. You know, that's your fighter. That's your fighter. You need to show passion. Remember the Rocky film? See how the trainer, remember the coach?
Mickey.
Yeah, you need to be like that. There needs to be more than that. Do you know what I mean? He needs to he needs someone to really tell him that's with him. Like, you know what I mean? He needs to have that one trainer. He can have all the other trainers to tell him, yeah, do that. But he needs to have that one coach to express his passion towards him, to make him understand. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not an experienced coach. I'm not a coach. I wouldn't be able to, you know, there's no way I can criticize Garcia because he's been doing it for years and obviously he's qualified and etc. But I can only go by my observation and my opinion. And I think he just needs a trainer personally that will be a bit harsh on him, maybe. But at the same time, they gel together. There needs to be that. And I think, you know, once he has that, I think you'll go on far. You know what I mean? He has to have a coach that will tell him certain things he doesn't want to hear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has to have a coach that he would actually they can even argue.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah.
He needs to have that. He needs to have someone to challenge him. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because he's only going by what they're telling him to do. And if they're telling him that he's all right, he's winning the fight, he's just going to go by what his trainers are telling him, man. He's a fighter. He's a fighter, but the coach is meant to do their job.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's the whole point. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. But like I said, in terms of mental, like I'm not trying to justify. I want people to understand that I'm not trying to justify what AJ done by throwing the belts. I'm not trying to say, because people got to think, oh, you're just trying to justify it. You're trying to camouflage it with mental health. No, mental health is what a lot of people go through on a day-to-day basis. I've gone through mental health, and funny enough, I want to have a show talk about mental health, especially in the black community and etc. Because it's one of the highest statistically that's happening in the UK. And the suicidal is very high in the black community.
Well, it's the main killer of black men.
Yes, the main killer, and people don't discuss this, and this is what's happening. And I'm not justifying. He should have never. Usyk won the fight. It was Usyk's moment. He should have never took the belts and thrown in like that. He shouldn't have acted. He shouldn't have acted like that. I'm not going to justify it. But I'm just going to make you understand that mental health is real. He had a mental breakdown. That was him saying, this is what I've been going through. Like, it's not easy what I'm going through. I'm trying out here. This is he expressed himself in front of everyone, in front of millions of people. That was him expressing himself. He wasn't being bad mind or nothing. He was just going through a mental breakdown, and he expressed himself. Do you know what I mean? Of all the burden that's happened to him for over the years of becoming champion or being champion or being who he is. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Queen, the royal family like look up to him and actually like expect him to win. So he's got a lot of pressure, and I think that just overtook him. I think he just expressed his emotions, and when he went back into the post fight and when they interviewed him after, he started crying. Also, started crying because he's a human being. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, put anything aside, put money, material things, whatever. He's a human being with feelings and emotions. So yes, it's gonna hurt him when people say certain things about him because he expressed himself saying that, you know, people think that I should be fighting like this. They don't understand how hard it is. He's trying. I'm not trying to say. People say, well, he makes excuses. Yes, you can say that, but I think he was not making excuses. I think he was just expressing himself.
Yeah, and
of what he's going through. Do you know what I mean? And we're all human beings, and he's not the first. He's not the first, Danny. We know boxing. We've seen Mike Tyson bite someone's ear off
and go mad.
If that's not a mental breakdown, I don't know. It's like he bit a piece of his ear off and spat it out. Yeah, that's a mental breakdown.
Zab Judah. When he picked up the stool and tried to lick the brother. Then he tried to grab the ref and tried to bang him. Then him and his dad was rocking Mayweather and Roger.
Yeah. That was crazy. People don't talk about that. We forgot about that.
Riddick Bowe. How many
Elijah. Like
when they went over the top rope.
Like he was wrestling or something like.
Then he punched up my man in the presser.
Larry, like what's his name? Donald.
Yeah, Larry Donald.
Yeah. Thumped him up, thumped him one. Like you see what I'm saying? Like,
Michael Bent and Herbie Hyde scrapping on the thing.
That was funny. The Herbie Hyde thing, innit?
Yeah. Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis.
He bit Lennox Lewis's thigh. Like, we've seen mental breakdowns in boxing.
Lennox Lewis, Hassim Ratman going over the table.
In the studio when they started like wrestling. But Hassim Ratman had him up though.
Yeah. Big up The Rock.
I'm an Lennox Lewis fan, so you know.
So am I.
But it happened.
Yard man, but
I blame on the suit. Lennox Lewis had a suit. That's what it was.
And I think the shoes were sliding, man.
So we've seen all breakdowns, you know what I mean? AJ's not the first. We've seen breakdowns, you know what I mean? We've seen, I think...
Oliver McCall in the rematch.
He started crying.
Yeah.
I've never seen that ever. How can someone start crying because you're losing the fight? He started crying, walking around, crying, shaking his head. That's a mental breakdown.
No, that was proper
That's breakdown. A mental breakdown. Then if you look at Tyson, things that he will say, he want to, eat his children, what did he say one time in one interview? Because he wish you can get one of your kids and step on the testicles and things like that. When he feel my pain.
And what he said to the reporter of he wants to F him till he loves him.
Yeah. You gotta say what's that about?
Yeah.
That's sexual like aggression. Like if they said that to me, I'm suing him for that. Okay, cool. Like,
I'll be very afraid if you said that to me.
Yeah. So saying that, then he said to one reporter, what did he say to one woman reporter? Well, she asked him about the fight. He's like, I don't talk to women unless I fornicate with them.
So I think we better stop this interview unless
you're gonna fornicate.
You know.
I mean, this guy was clearly going through mental problems. Like, but at that time, I don't know. Things have changed. I think now we recognize what mental problem is. But at that time, we didn't understand what it was. But he was crying out. You know what I mean?
But remember, he used to say he used to cry in the changing room before every amateur fight.
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah. He used to cry.
And you used to see a video of him actually. There was one where he was with Teddy Atlas and Kevin Rooney, and he was like, and then he'd go out and knock people out. So, and even Oliver Cool, every time he used to walk to the ring, he used to be crying as well. So it was mad. Yeah, it was mad. But them times we're not thinking of.
We're not thinking of that. We just think we can't wait for the fight. But it's an emotional sport. Mike Tyson said that he used to cry because he had so much emotions. He was obviously fear of losing, and obviously knowing that he's gonna hurt the person, like he's going there to kill him. So he'll cry because of that, because he goes, I know I'm gonna hurt this guy. So let me just cry. So it's all mixed emotions. We've seen it. So boxing is an emotional sport. I have to say our AJ's had a lot of backlash since he lost to Usyk the first time. Since Andy Ruiz, he's had backlash after backlash. People's he's too stiff, he can't fight, boom, boom, boom. All of these things. Yes, he's human. It's gonna hurt him. As much as we say like you can ignore it, but you're a human being. Someone says something about it, it's gonna affect you. Do you know what I mean?
All the
you're
blogs.
Yeah. And it hurts. So even if you look at the fight with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, after the fight, Muhammad Ali expresses emotions. I don't know if you remember. Remember after the George Foreman? Because I told you I'm the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I told you never again. Said I'm going to be defeated. Never again. Said I'm going to be underdog till I'm about 50 years old. I told you I was the greatest. I told you all of you suckers bow, bow, bow. You know what I mean? So all that,
Do you know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
You've done two things which remind me of a present day. First of all, you spoke about AJ needs a coach who will activate him, shout at him, tell him what he doesn't want to hear. Then you've spoke about that post-fight speech. Do you know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
The Leon Edwards thing. Did you watch that?
I watched that. I don't know.
UFC. Where he knocked out Kamaru Usman with that cow foot kick. Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about
My
that.
yard man broke up that bubble. Yeah.
He's racist. This guy's racist.
Yeah. That trainer, David Lavelle, he's a boxing coach. He's from Birmingham.
Yeah.
And that might be someone who AJ needs as that guy who, because the way he was talking to my Leon Edwards in the corner, because he won the first round and then he was just getting dominated by Kamaru Usman. And he was going in the corner, he's all dejected. He's like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. He's like, I'm not. He's like, well, what's wrong with you? Shouting, Barry, you need to get him. You need to take him down. You need to do this. You need to shoot him. And then, so last round, he's come out, bam, gave him the kick in the head, which proper cow foot kick now, gone down. And he's like, that's at the post-fight interview. They said I couldn't do it. Yeah. Look at me now. Look at me now.
Exactly.
Headshot, Dad.
Exactly.
So that was like that.
Right. So what? Them men there, them fighters, yeah. See, when people put them down, it hurts them.
It does.
You know what I mean? It hurts their ego. So they just keep in. So when that time came, they expressed themselves. See how Muhammad Ali expressed himself. He was really angry. You can see that, you know what I mean? Because he was like, he lost to Joe Frazier, he lost to Kenny Norton, then they said he didn't have legs no more, he couldn't dance no more. Like, they just criticized him after criticized. So when he won that fight, he expressed his emotions, like, nah, you know, I told you I could do it. You know, all of you, like, nah, do you know what I mean?
Even another one. Remember when Frank Bruno finally won the title versus Oliver McCall? And then all of a sudden he started bringing, I'm not an Uncle Tom. I love my people. I'm not an Uncle Tom. Because he's obviously for all them years, people are calling him a bounty, you little brown sauce man, Harry and all that. So he's like, I'm not an Uncle Tom. Bounty, chalk eyes. So he's like, I'm not. Like, so all of a sudden he just brought that out randomly. I'm not Uncle Tom. I love my people. I'm Jamaican. So it's like it hurts.
It hurts because as a black man, if you've been called a coconut or an Uncle Tom, it hurts you. Doesn't matter how much money you got in your account, it hurts because you can't escape being black. So I think when he won against Oliver McCall, he went to Oliver McCall's, I'm not an Uncle Tom. I'm not an Uncle Tom, just know that, I'm not an Uncle Tom. So it was personal. Yeah. Because I won the title, but I'm letting you know I'm not an Uncle Tom. I never say that. Yeah. So, it does hurt. When people say things, it does hurt. Do you know what I mean? No one can't say that, it doesn't hurt. So you can see from all the reason I brought this up, you see from Muhammad Ali, if you look at the fight, if you got to try and look at the Rumble and Jungle, George Foreman, Ali, and Zaire, and look at the post-fight and just see how Ali was angry. Do you know what I mean? He was like, you know what I mean? Bow! All of you lot gonna bow! All of you lot that criticized me, all of you lot said I was finished. You said I was finished, you thought I was old. You said I didn't have no more legs. You said I didn't, like, he just went in. Yeah. And then time there was no social media, remember? No.
If he had social media, he'd be a madness now.
Yeah, there was no social media. So he was reading what people were saying. He was reading. So now today you can't get away, with social media. As soon as you go on Instagram, AJ's gonna see something about him, whether he likes it or not.
Just Bait, Bow News, Shade Room.
Yeah, he can even put YouTube. There's gonna be something said about him.
100%.
So he can't escape the criticism. So it gets to him. So at the end of the day, like I said, mental health is real out here. And I want people to not to think that just because someone's got money in the bank or they're rich, they can't go through mental health. It's very serious, and we shouldn't put a man down while he's down. Because one thing I don't like about the British public is that as soon as someone loses, all of a sudden, the same people that glorify him are the same people that put him down. You won't see the Ukrainians do that. I'm sure if Usyk lost, they will still have said, congratulations, well done. But from the British side of things, just like you said earlier on, I think people are so jealous of him and they're letting the jealousy cloud their opinion and view on him. Just like you said, listen, I'm a person, listen, if I'm for my own people, innit? I'm for my own people, innit? I respect everyone. Do you know what I mean? But if we got a black man, a young black man that's doing well, let's support him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's doing well. Do you understand? And I'm a person that, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. There's always, you know, yes, he's a good looking guy, he's boxing and things like that. It's normal. Do you know what I mean? It's normal for girls to talk about the way they talk about it, but don't let that, you know. I think people like that are insecure.
Absolutely.
I think if your girlfriend likes AJ or whatever and you can't stand it, you're insecure.
Or the girl you're trying to link. The girl you're in her DMs, but she's liking, he's seeing her liking and commenting under AJ's posts, and he's not, you know, she's taking 5 days to reply. But that's because you're corny, you know. You're cheesy. But it just reminds me of, you know, back in the day, you know, when we was younger, we were all single and had night, you know, girls and that. Yeah. You'd hear girls come up to you, oh yeah, do you know that such and such was saying such and such about you? Because these men are hating, because these brothers were trying to get her number, and you're getting the play, and he's upset. So I can imagine, and I'm at civilian level in Southeast London, so. The magnitude of the hate these brothers must have for him.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's infuriating. Then they're seeing him on all the posters. They go to the gym group, he's there. They pick up a Lucozade, he's right there. They pick up an aftershave, okay, it has a gift set in Christmas for Links, he's right there.
Yeah. It's that. I mean, my thing is, if you're not happy with yourself, go to the gym and try to look like him. Go to the gym, work on your abs, work on your muscles, do boxing. Like, let that be an inspiration instead of hating on the guy. Exactly. So I feel like a lot of people are hating on him, and it's funny. They're hating on him for stupid reasons, or little things like that, just because he's probably, a lot of girls like him and things like that.
Or he talks, or he's, you know, trying to paint us in a good light. You know, speaks well. You know, very friendly to the media.
Yeah.
So what do you want him to do? Yo, wagwan, my G. Yes, fam. So man's just on this thing. I'm coming out here on crud. I'm just gonna bang up this brother and just, man's gonna shower him. No. We get enough bad press as it is.
That's it.
Let the brother paint us in a good light, that we ain't all just thuggeries.
No.
You know, we can articulate ourselves and come across professional and go into all types of rooms and socialize and integrate everybody in, you know, and so not marginalize ourselves, because these same people who's talking about, oh, AJ's fake, why is he talking like this, why is he trying to be so media friendly, when AJ did start talking road in the ring now, he's embarrassed us, he's making black people look bad, so it's like, hold on a minute, so which one do you want, mate?
That's what I'm saying. And to be honest with you, he's never hid his personality. We've seen angry AJ against Baby Miller.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Dominic Brazil.
Like, we're seeing, like, he doesn't hide that. He's just able to maintain himself and articulate himself in a professional manner, especially within the boxing sports, because he knows that he's got people that are looking up to him, so he has to be a certain way.
It's kids, a lot of kids.
And obviously, not because you're a boxer, you can't speak well. You know, it's boxers, because people have a sort of view on boxing. If you're a boxer, you have to talk a certain way, like, you know, you have to be able to speak properly as well. Boxers can speak properly as well, and can academically express themselves. You know what I mean? In terms of how using words and how to express and talk, and articulate themselves in the best way. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that he's been. Listen, we're all from the roads. We're all from the roads. It doesn't mean because I'm from the roads I have to speak a certain way. Roads, no. You know, this is a show. We're speaking here. We want people from all over to understand what we're talking about. We want to reach out not to just our community, but to other people as well. Then they can see that there's two young black brothers that are, you know, well spoken and this and that. This is good. That's what it's all about. And young black boys or young black, you know, kids can look up to us and say, okay, right, we can do this as well. There's nothing wrong with what he's doing. I think he's done a wonderful thing. And one thing that Eddie Hearn did say, like, you know, AJ is definitely someone that I like my kids to look up to. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course I want my kids to look up to him. Of course.
Yeah.
You know, we're not looking for someone that's perfect. But in terms of achievement, he's definitely a role model.
Yeah. And he's had the toughest road of resume wise throughout the current heavyweights, because he hasn't had no Tom Schwartz or Pianettas.
It was, who was it? Who was it he fought? Yeah.
Yeah, Pianetta, Tom Schwartz, and there was another one before that as well, in between one of them. Yeah, so you don't get them. People be like, "This, what's this? What's he trying to sell us, Eddie? You're trying to have us over. Fast car, Eddie. Anthony Joshua, you're ripping us off. You're ripping off the public." He doesn't get those luxuries, Anthony Joshua.
He hasn't fought any taxi man in a long time.
Exactly. So
no Uber drivers is fought in a long time. And I think he needs to probably do that. Because certain boxers had it easy. You know, if you look at the other boxers, they had certain taxi drivers, Uber drivers, bus drivers to fight. Look at
your favourite fights throughout history. Roberto Duran went through a load of bum of the month series. Julio Cesar Chavez, he was fighting man in his like 85th fight. He's fighting man 0-10, no wins, 10 losses. Muhammad Ali, he had a couple of them. You go through all them great fighters in history. They've had those type of guys.
Yeah.
Even Canelo, Anthony Yildirim. Anthony Joshua ain't had no Anthony Yildirms.
Anthony Joshua since Dylan White has had... Okay, after Dylan White, he had the champion, what's his name? Martin.
Charles Martin.
After Charles Martin, he had an undefeated fight at that time, Dominic Brazil. After Dominic Brazil, the only taxi... Well, I can't call him that. Molina's...
Yeah.
Molina's...
But he was... No, but he was... Remember, he rocked Deontay Wilder. So he was coming off... He was in good form.
He's in good form. Molina. Straight after Molina, Klitschko. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Then after Klitschko,
Takam.
Takam, who's tough. You get me? He went rounds with Joseph Parker. Gave Povetkin problems. Takam. After Takam, Joseph Parker, who was world champion. Defeated. After Joseph Parker, Povetkin, who only lost once to Klitschko. And that was a tough fight.
And you saw what he did afterwards against Dillian White.
And then you saw what he done to Dillian White. And then after that, he got Andy Ruiz, who only lost once to Joseph Parker
in a very close fight. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Then after that, he fought Ruiz again. Then he fought Pulev, I think Pulev has only lost
to Klitschko.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Then he fought a unified cruiserweight champion, was he Olympic gold medalist?
Yeah.
Won the boxing series.
350 amateur fights.
Had 350 amateur fights, for crying out loud. Beat Tony Bellew. I think Tony
flattened him.
Yeah, I mean, even not tap Tony Bellew. And you know Tony Bellew's the real deal.
Yeah.
You know Tony Bellew's the real deal. Not tap Tony Bellew. Went 12 rounds with Jozora. And we know that Jozora is tough. And this was a big heavyweight. And you know what I mean? Then fought AJ. So he's not had any easy fights.
He's a modern day Evander Holyfield.
Yeah. He has had no easy fights. So all the fights have been tough fights. So, you know, like I said, I'm Team AJ all the way, whether he wins or lose. And I think he done a good performance against Usyk. Personally, people talk a lot, but they never boxed in their life. They never took any punches. They don't know what boxing's about. They're quick to criticize him. He tried his. He didn't get knocked out. He just got outboxed. That's all it was. He got outboxed in the last 3 rounds. But if you look from round 1 to round 9, it was quite even. And AJ was doing well. Just the last 2 rounds or 3 rounds, what happened? AJ's
gas tank.
I just think he just didn't do enough to win the rounds. That's what it is.
No, he was tired. He put a lot into round 9, and he's trying, because even in the last round he was trying, but by then he was so shattered he was falling over his feet.
Yeah, because he gave around 9 he really loaded up. You know, to be able to think about round 9, that's championship rounds. To load up like that in round 9, you know what I mean? It took a lot for him to
it's a risk.
Get that. Some people get tired after 4 rounds, 5 rounds, but for him to go to round 9 and load up the way he did, showed his condition. But obviously after that, he loaded up a lot. He's an 18-stone guy. He obviously after that, it took a lot out of him, and then he wasn't able to maintain that sort of pressure. You know what I mean? And then what Usyk was doing was just nipping him with, you know, jabbing him and hitting him and things. Because Usyk wasn't there to knock him out, just there to win. So Usyk was smart. He boxed, and Usyk's a wonderful boxer, honestly.
But what I will say is the 18 stone thing, I'm not going to let him slide on that, because what it is, he's 18 stone, but he's 18 stone of too much muscle, which is lactic acid, because there's been a lot of big guys over the years, you know, Big Daddy Bo. Riddick Bowe was a big guy, but he had the stamina.
Goals,
Primo Camara, Jess Willard, Valuev, even though he was slow, but he was a big guy. Tyson Fury is well over 18 stone.
Yeah.
But
He's able to let the punches go.
he can let it because he can let the punches go. He's got a lot of stamina. I've never seen him tired.
Yeah.
Lennox Lewis says he got a bit older. He was about that 18 stone marker when he got bigger with the dreads. Yeah. So there's been guys there's been them 18 stoners plus.
Definitely.
But his is too muscle bound.
Because the more muscle you have, it takes a lot of oxygen off your body, which you know what I mean. We all know. And listen, like I said,
George Foreman in the second half of his career, he was definitely over 18s.
Yeah.
So there's men who. So
there's men that are bigger than him. There's men, like if you look at like I said, Riddick Bowe was like the same weight as him, and he was able to exchange same rate as Holyfield.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Everything Holyfield gave him, he gave him the same back.
Yeah,
and he was bigger.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And there's guys like Prima Camara and Jess Willard,
and
Tyson Fury. These are massive guys.
Massive guy. I just think that. I'm not going to justify. I mean, for the thing that he's 18 stone.
But that was part of the rant anyway.
That was just part of him expressing himself.
Also, I didn't like the way, what's his name? Fraser Clark was in that studio giving all that big talk. Oh, the team should have got in there. I would have got in there and I would have took the dig. Because I was thinking, hold on a minute, 1 minute. You're talking like that. You see, this is what I mean about our community sometimes, you know. Now, we're going to keep it a buck tonight.
Yeah, cool.
Who got you your deal with Boxer? Who you signed to again? 258 Management. All right, so that's your boss. AJ's your boss, yeah? So you're talking greasy, yeah, about you would have done this and you would have done that, and you shouldn't have done this and you shouldn't have done that. All right, you're saying this in front of people you shouldn't be because you're meant to keep that in-house when you talk to your 258 team or whatever, or you give them a call and say, oh, it was a bit wrong or whatever. You wouldn't have took the dig. Why wasn't you in Saudi Arabia with him as part of support for his team if you're part of the 258 team? That's another good question, you know. So all that talk about you should have done, why wasn't you there for one? For two, you're talking bad mind about the guy who's helped you get your deal with Boxer in the first place. So you're wrong in there, you know. But this is what I mean. Is man don't need to.
That's our own people. That's our problem. And the thing is, people say that like, you should have stopped. You should have got the mic off him. So that the team should have done something. Like really, like look at the size of number one. Look at the size
and it's going to look messy on TV.
It's gonna look messy. This at the end of the day, look. AJ Usyk here too. It's AJ's show. People are there for AJ. Let's be honest. It's AJ that's made it happen. Yeah, it's his show. Technically, yes, Usyk won the fight, but it's his show. So really and truly, do you think anyone really could just say, no, let me get the mic off? Really, like, do you think he's going to allow that?
No. And remember, and people, it's all about relationships. For instance, I'm going to use my cousin Craig Rich as an example. If he's either going mad, me and my brother could grab him, but normal people, they can't just grab him because they haven't got that relationship. But I know Craig since, you know, we're sharing bunk beds and stuff. Like, we're all sleeping on the floor. That's why Benga was the only one who could grab him because they go back to when they were snotty noses. And obviously Chisora, because he's like the OG for Anthony Joshua in the Finchley, so he was able to sort of control him and he didn't want to push Chisora. I saw even he kind of shook his dad off, which was a bit upsetting to see. But that was wrong. Yeah, that was wrong. But maybe they've had, I don't know about that relationship, but whatever. We won't get into that. But yeah, so it's you can say, oh yeah, I would have done this. You wouldn't have done nothing. It's easy to say on the outside. You wasn't even in Saudi.
Who's anyone to take the mic off AJ? Who?
Yeah, and he's got his wraps on. The gloves are off.
Who has any authority to say, you know, give me the mic, you're not gonna talk? Who?
Yeah.
So people are talking. They should have really. You think he's gonna just allow someone to take the mic off him and that's it?
Yeah, and grab him up.
And then that leave, don't talk. Come on, man. Let's be honest, no. Yeah. I think what happened was it was very random and there's nothing much we could just let him talk. Yeah, just let it go. Obviously, if it went over the top, if he said something that was extreme, like then maybe, you know, someone should have come in and said, if he started maybe cussing Usyk and doing this and that, like maybe then we'll say, you know what, that's enough. But all he done is expressed himself. He didn't cuss Usyk, you know what I mean? Yes, okay, 18 stone, that's debatable. Like I said, I'm not going to use that as an excuse because there's been bigger guys that have been able to do.
Yeah, and he embarrassed himself a little bit. But it was a rant. All the hip hooray and champ and on the knees.
He's just come over a 12-round fight.
Yeah, maybe a bit concussed.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? You're not gonna be normal after taking a lot of punches. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes when I do sparring, I'm not even myself. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So you're taking a lot of punches there. So obviously he was probably concussed, motion, taking punches to the head. So he's not in his right mind. And you have to understand this is. I think it's also obviously he's upset with himself.
He's having a load of thoughts. I mean, his head's going a million miles an hour.
Thinking, people gonna cuss me about this. I might just express myself and let people know. I know what I'm gonna get after this. I know people gonna think, "Oh, that's it.
I'm washed."
I'm washed." And so he just expressed himself. So you don't understand. I'm trying. And the thing, I don't know if you looked at the fight. I looked at the fight properly yesterday, and he just lost the fight. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get beat up.
Didn't get dropped.
I don't even think he even got hurt too tough in the fight.
There was one round he did, but he recovered quite quickly.
He recovered quickly. He didn't even get really rocked. I just think what happened that he done what he was supposed to do. He went in there and he tried to knock him out, and he nearly did at one point. It just wasn't enough. And what happened? Usyk recovered, and Usyk was able to do what he was doing.
Yeah, turn up the heat and do his thing.
Win the fight. So I don't think he should beat himself up about it. I think personally, and this is me personally, AJ that night would have been any other heavyweight, any of the top 10s. And that's just my opinion. I believe that he would have beaten a lot of these heavyweights that night. Do you know what I mean? I just think that style and his style is a bit complicated for him to master. But if you would have put him against anybody, do you know what I mean? Any heavyweights, he would have beaten them.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and I stand by that.
Yeah. And it seems Tyson Fury is very weary of Usyk himself. He's like, if you want me to get in there with this unknown quantity, unknown entity, you're going to have to pay me 500 million. Floyd got 400 million for Pacquiao. I'm like, mate, you don't sound like you want to fight. 1 minute you're saying you want to fight AJ and you don't want no wages for either of you. Now to fight Usyk, you need $500 million. It's like, mate.
This guy's walking contradicting. Like, he contradicts himself all the time. Like, 1 minute it's about the money. It's not about the money. 1 minute you're retiring, then you're not retiring. You don't want to do boxing, you've done enough, you this and that. Then 1 minute you want to fight Chisora, you tell KD to send contract for Chisora. Then when they're ready to send contract, all of a sudden you're retiring. Now all of a sudden you want to fight Usyk for 500 million. I mean,
now he's got a Netflix deal I'm seeing, and that it's just doing all.
You know, he's just. Yeah, I can't keep up with him. It's just too much for me. Like, it's either you got to fight Usyk or you're not. And you know what? Yeah, I really want him to fight Usyk because Tyson, I respect him. He's a good boxer. He's done well. You know what I mean? He can fight. He's a gypsy. It's in his blood. He's got heart, got guts, everything. I respect Tyson Fury and his boxing skills, but sometimes I don't respect the things that he says. And I think he talks a bit too much. Yeah. I wanted to fight Usyk. And see how he'll do against Usyk because you just never know. You know, you just never know. Like, you know, and maybe that might be an easier fight for Usyk. You never know. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that Usyk could beat him, but it's possible. And I want people to understand, like, just because AJ lost to Usyk does not mean that Tyson Fury can beat AJ or Deontay Wilder can beat AJ. That's two different fights. Two different fights. Sometimes it's hard fighting smaller guys that move around like that. But, you know, sometimes when you got someone that's, even when I do sparring, when I fight taller guys, I find it a bit easier because there's a lot of body to hit, they're there. You know? Than smaller guys, because smaller guys are a bit tricky, they move around. But when you got a big guy, that's why you see that AJ was able to do well against Klitschko and Dominic Brazil and etc. Because these are big guys. Do you know what I mean? So you can't, for him, they're there. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is. So boxing style makes fights, people. That's what happens. So I like to see how Usyk and Fury fight and see if Fury is able, because he's making it look like it's going to be light work, like it's nothing. We'll see in it, man. Yeah,
but closer to that fight, if it does ever get announced, I'll break down why I feel Usyk has a great chance in this fight. It has something to do with Tyson Fury and the height of 6'3". He has a lot of trouble with guys 6'3", but I'll break that down in another episode close to the fight if it does get made.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, man. But thank you for coming on once again, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Bringing all that knowledge. I'll see you.
Address the situation.
Yeah, with Team AJ.
Yeah, man, all the way, man.
Eddie. And it's Dani Glover, the Neutral Corner from Fight Fan TV presented. Remember, guys, Persistence beats persistence beats resistance.
That's it.
You know what it is, and we're out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.